Hey, what's up? This is Seth Green, and you are listening to Somewhere in Vegas with Mark, and I am so hot, I would desperately like a glass of water. Please, please, give me some water.
This is Cindy Preston, and I'm with Mark on Somewhere in Vegas.
Hi, this is Melissa Peterman from CMT's The Singing Bee and the television show Reba. And I have to tell you, I just have to get it off my chest, I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi there. This is Faith Roscoe from General Hospital. You're listening to Mark on Somewhere in Vegas. And you better watch out. We know how to find you if you're not listening.
Hi, this is Shannon Egan from Whippet, and I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hey, this is Lee Allen Baker with Somewhere in Vegas, talking with Mark with a Q.
This is Courtney Cronin. You're listening to Somewhere in Vegas with your host, Mark, and I would make sure to listen every week because he's a sure bet.
Hey, this is the Money Man, Eddie Money. I got 2 tickets to Paradise, and it's, you know what? It's Somewhere in Vegas. And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Hi, this is Crystal Gale, and I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi, this is Terry Nunn from Berlin, and you're listening to Mark Somewhere in Vegas.
Hi, this is Miracle Laurie from Joss Whedon's Dollhouse. There are 3 flowers in a vase, and I'm listening to Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi, this is Erin Hill, and you are listening to Mark on Blog Talk Radio and Somewhere in Vegas. Mark is a great guy.
Hi, this is Sean Pulaski. I'm still trying to figure out Mark Pico's sexuality, but I know you're listening to Somewhere Live in Vegas.
Here you go, Mark. I'm sorry. I thought you were she. I'm sorry. Get out of the tent. Let's get out of here.
Hey, this is Lance and Anna from Free Radio. And Anna?
And you're listening to Somewhere in Vegas.
Yes.
My favorite.
You know, that's usually what happens with me. I go to Vegas and I get lost, and so I end up somewhere in Vegas.
Somewhere in Vegas.
But I just don't know where it is.
Not quite sure.
Yeah, word.
Get ready. It's going to be hot. It's in Vegas. Check out Mark. Be there or be square.
My guest at this time has a really good new hot single called Two Girlfriends. This is coming off of a very spectacular single called Wow, which has been blazing up the charts internationally as well. He has also got a new single coming out called Chasing Me, which will be coming out in February. We got Larry Jay with us right now. How you doing, Larry?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I'm here in Los Angeles. It's in the afternoon, and I just I'm ready to talk.
Yeah, I know that. We've been getting a lot of the rain over here in Vegas from you guys over in California, which obviously it's much needed. But yeah, it's been kind of rainy as of late as well. So yeah, it's been interesting to say the least in terms of weather. But more importantly, that you're very interesting. Just the fact that you're originally from New York. You moved out to California, but your sound is very more Southern and country. Tell me a little bit about that now, kind of some of your influences growing up.
Well, I'd say my influences growing up were probably the Beatles, and I really like Tom Petty a lot, and I like Johnny Cash. So I'd say those were, and Neil Young too. So those are my 4 major influences.
Funny thing is that I was in Los Angeles right before Petty passed. He actually was doing some shows over at the Hollywood Bowl. I think the day or two before, sorry to say, we lost him. But did you get an opportunity to see Tom at all in concert?
I did, but it was back around 25 years ago when Stevie Ray Vaughan was still alive. Stevie Ray Vaughan opened up for him at the LA Forum. It was a great show.
Yeah, speaking of Neil Young, you actually shared the stage with one of his players in Crazy Horse. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Oh yeah, he's a friend of mine. We've tried some co-writing together, and he was only in Crazy Horse for about a year, and he not when Neil was with them, when they were on their own, and but he plays locally at this club around not too far from where I live in Calabasas. So every once in a while I go up on the stage with him, and I give him some lead guitar work and some harmony, and so it's a lot of fun. He's a nice guy, pretty good songwriter, and so I enjoy seeing him. I haven't seen him in a while because he hasn't been able to gig. The restaurant's closed now.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that some of these artists aren't being able to have the opportunity to be able to perform on stages as well. So hopefully, things starting to open up a little bit. I know there are limited capacity stages starting to open up left and right now. So hopefully that ends up being the case, that we start seeing at least some performance and all that as well. But I think a lot of performers like yourself have been shifting over to the social media realm and the streaming realm as well. I mean, you mentioned TikTok, that you've been using that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, that's brand new. Michael, who introduced me to you, he told me to try TikTok. I'm working on that now. Hopefully, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give them my song. Although I made a video for the song that's coming out in March called "Come On Down," about the worldwide celebration when the pandemic's over. We're going to have people curators make their own videos to go with the music, and they'll release it to their followers, and hopefully we'll build a following for the song and the movement. I think, wouldn't it be wonderful to have just a big worldwide one day a year, like to celebrate the end of this pandemic? That'd be great.
Yeah, I hope that is sooner rather than later. So, I mean, that's great. Tell me a little bit about how you got into music. I mean, was guitar your first instrument? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. When I was a young boy, my cousin came over with a guitar and she played it, and she was just plucking the strings. And as the strings vibrated, I started to vibrate. So it was just, I made a lifelong friend there with the guitar. And so that's how it started. And then, listening to radio songs, I fell in love with songs. So I was in bands playing lead guitar and doing some singing. And later on, I did solo work, singer-songwriter. And then later on, I started to finally do some songwriting. So that's been my progression. And then I've taken time off for family, rehab, the usual story.
Now, with that in mind, I mean, you mentioned that, you mentioned the guitar and all that as well. How many guitars do you own?
I'm looking at, I have a Martin, 1962 Martin acoustic. I have a Taylor acoustic. I have a Schecter acoustic. I have 3 acoustics and probably 4 or 5 electrics and 1 bass. And I have recording gear.
Yeah. Now, and probably none of those are probably what you originally started on or anything like that. I mean, have you, how often do you go through guitars? And, obviously with recording, different guitars may have different sounds or whatever like that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, right now, I'm mostly using the Taylor when I do recording, and I also do it when I play out. Also, a lot of times when I play out, I have a lot of backing tracks on a looper, which can kick in with effects. It's all computerized and programmed, so I can sound like a full band if I want, and I can have the harmony kick in and out, the delay, the distortion. It's just an amazing a piece of equipment. I can get pretty much any sound I want from any guitar with that.
I mean, that's great to hear. I mean, it's interesting to hear, people, kind of play with the technology and to be able to have that option if you don't have a full band behind you as well. I mean, how was it for you to kind of adapt to that technology? And obviously it's working very well for you.
It was hard. I mean, just programming some of this equipment, it's like hours and hours and hours of watching YouTube videos, chat rooms, trying to get the email with the manufacturer. It's a long process. Same thing with the live stream. I was doing a live stream once a week on Facebook. That took a long time to get do you use OBS?
I do not.
Yeah, that took a while to figure out, but I like it because I could put, like you can see the background. I have a Rick and Morty background here. I could put videos behind me with OBS. I have dancing girls if I want. Technology is amazing what you can do if you spend the time figuring out how to do it, because it can be frustrating.
Yeah, speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about the first time that you've ever been in a studio versus now. I mean, obviously, things have kind of changed a lot over the past couple of years. I mean, how was it for you the first time you went into a studio and kind of have you learned a lot going into a studio and working working with producers and kind of getting the hang of recording a track?
When I first went to a studio, they had these boards with 40 channels, and they were physical boards that you move the levers, and I learned the basics. But then things changed about 10, 15 years ago. Everything started to be like Pro Tools, and I use Logic a lot, which is like Pro Tools. Now everything's on your computer, and that was a whole new learning experience, how to operate the software and the plugins. So I would say it's been two track. One is a real physical studio with the big Trident boards and all that, and then the DAWs, digital audio workstations that are on computers, which I seem to use the most. And most people I work with in their studios, they use the Pro Tools, which is a digital audio workplace.
Now, with you, tell me a little bit about how how you come about coming in and recording a track. Is there a certain instrument that you start out with? Usually it's the drums, but tell me a little bit about the recording process for you.
I have a new process I started about a year ago. I start off with a karaoke track, and I start cutting and pasting, changing keys, changing the tempo, and I create a rhythm track from tracks that have been super well produced, and I make them into my own song. So it's a whole new way of making the rhythm track. Then I'll start adding my keyboards, my guitars, the vocals, and whatever else is needed. So I don't know too many people doing that, but I like it.
Yeah, just not to, I think a lot of producers, even in the genre of like dance or whatever, will start with a kind of a synth, little drum track going on, and then they'll layer on that as well. So it seems to be something that people are doing nowadays too, in lieu of not having a drummer nearby. Tell me a little bit about your songwriting process as well. Do you come up with lyrics first? Do you come up with the music first? Is it a combination of both?
Combination of both, but lately, before I write the lyrics to a song, I have to have an idea. Like on Wow, I just kept hearing the word wow on TV, and I said, that'd be a good title for a song. And then I had to decide how I was going to develop it. And I decided I'd make it a love song. And then was it going to be I made someone's heart go wow, or they made my heart go wow? And I run it by other songwriters I meet with on Wednesday nights. We have a great critiquing and session. And I finally decided to make it about she makes my heart go wow. She takes me to a place that makes my heart go wow. And then I decided to make the verses lead to the chorus by having different places. And so that's the process in the lyric. I had a melody in mind. There was a song I heard on the radio that I liked, and I started to take some ideas from that and then change it to make it my own song. So that was the process on Wow.
Yeah, that was great. Has there been a song that's kind of come to you really, really quickly, and you were able to kind of write it within a short amount of time?
No, I rewrite. It's so competitive, and you deal. There are some writers in Nashville that are brilliant poets, and I have to show it to people and get critique, and if I hear two or three the same thing from two or three different people that I trust, then I know I have to make changes. So because I'm not in a rush, I want to get it so it's really moves people and it doesn't bore them. They say I don't want them to say I've heard that line a million times. So I want to do it right.
Yeah. So in converse, a lot of the stuff that you may have like books of lyrics or something like that you may, or ideas that you have that you just aren't feeling that you're quite there yet on it, and then you may have to come back and look at them and figure out an idea for them.
Right. And I will pick them up every once in a while and try to see if I have to get it more developed. And if I not, I put it down for a while. I'm not going to, that was the idea of chasing me. I'm not going to keep chasing. I'm going to take it a little slow and let the ideas come back to me. And it seems to be working for me. rather than I'd rather get it right than right away. That's more important to me.
It's interesting in Los Angeles because, it used to be